Reporting to you live from the depths of depravity, this is the Arch Advocate Podcast for Wednesday, April 24th. Welcome back, everybody. What a day. I am very happy to get to... There's just so much funniness going on in a perverse sort of way. Hey, just want to let you guys know, thank you, everybody, for your support. All of you that hit share, particularly all of those of you who hit subscribe, all of you who leave a comment and a rating on iTunes, man, I appreciate all that stuff, man. It helps the show grow. And if you want to support the show with money, there's two ways you can do that now. You can do that on Subscribestar. Subscribestar.com/archadvocate. Arch Advocate with a hyphen in the middle. Or you can just do it with cash like on a one-time thing. Some people prefer that. That's paypal.me/archadvocate with no hyphen in the middle. And both of those links, I think you can find that on my Twitter at RealPeteDobson1. At RealPeteDobson1. Now listen. Old Bernie Sanders. Old Boston Bomber Bernie, they called him. Hey, Donald Trump, if you're listening. Donald Trump, he's a big fan of the Arch Advocate podcast, from what I hear. From very reliable sources at CNN. Donald Trump is a fan of the Arch Advocate podcast. Mr. Trump, all you have to do from now on, for the next 18 months, every time you refer to Bernie Sanders, you just got to refer to him as old Boston Bomber Bernie. Don't call him Crazy Bernie anymore. It's too simple. Boston Bomber Bernie. It has 3 B's in it. It has a cadence. It has a rhythm, right? Advertising, marketing, right? Slogans and catchphrases and jingles and that sort of thing. Old Boston Bomber Bernie. He's done. This guy is, this guy has said, like, you can go and watch clips of this man saying, bread lunch, people mock this, but bread lunch is a good thing. It means people are eating. It's like, what? But in all fairness, right? That was a long time ago. And certainly, we've all said really stupid things. We've all said, man, I have said some doozies in my day. Doozies. I've said some stupid things, and we all have. So, you can look at that clip of Bernie Sanders saying, breadlines are a good thing. And he did say that. And he said it with a straight face. But you would be hard pressed to get that guy to say that again, because he realizes now, like, you can't say that out loud. If you're a communist, man, you can't say that stuff out loud. You can think it. You can vote in that direction. You can even campaign yourself to try to hold political office, but you certainly, you can't say that out loud. They'll kill you. You know what I mean? And we can all look back on that and be like, well, I mean, come on, it was a long time ago, right? But no, this was last night. Boston Bomber Bernie. That's all you have to do, and because it will cause everybody in their mind to recall that immediately. Old Boston Bomber Bernie gets asked at a staged event. It's a CNN town hall. Now it's, you can get all conspiracy theory on it, but is there any progressives out there or leftists or whatever, social justice warriors? Is there anybody who doubts that CNN is the advertising wing of the Democrat Party? That's their baby. And CNN holds a town hall. And, this young gal gets up there and says, hey, you keep talking about letting prisoners vote. Are you saying you want the Boston Bomber? Like, she was very specific. Are you saying that you want the Boston Bomber to be able to vote while he is in prison? And also, are you saying that you want pedophiles to be able to vote? And Bernie Sanders says, yes. Right? Now, it's not over at this point. Then Chris Cuomo, right? Andrew Cuomo's brother. He's, you know how, like, they have Thing 1 and Thing 2 from Dr. Seuss? Well, there's POS 1 and POS 2. Piece of, human excrement. POS 1 is the governor of the state of New York, and POS 2 is the lead anchor on CNN. And so this guy, Chris Cuomo, is it Chris or Andrew? I think it's Chris. Chris Cuomo gets up there and he sees what's going on. He's like, oh no, my boy is in trouble. This is going to be damaging to the Democrat Party. This is going to be damaging to the cause of progressivism in America if I don't run cleanup right now. So Chris Cuomo runs up to, remember, he's a piece of human excrement. But he's not so far to the left that he doesn't see what's going on. He has the presence of mind to, behave like a first responder, like, oh no, I need to fix this. And he runs up to Bernie and says, Bernie, on live TV, on live television. Bernie, you have to understand that the conservative people, the Republican people, the people who are lean to the right, they're going to take clips of what you just said, and they're just going to they're going to put it, they're going to stretch it over a drum, and then they're just going to bang on that drum for the next 18 months of why people shouldn't vote for you, because you just said that you want the Boston bomber to vote. I'm here to give you another shot at it. Wrong answer, sir. Here's the microphone. Say what you really, really, really mean by that. And he says, nope, that's what I mean. Oh, it's amazing. And it's I get so much joy out of it. It's kind of perverse, because you know what it's like. Do you ever see those videos like on Facebook and on Twitter or YouTube where like the fat lady falls down the stairs? There's that one where it's like it's behind a bar, and it's like some old school bar in like an old city, where they still had like there were stairs behind the bar, right? And if you wanted to go down those stairs, you had to pull up a door off of the floor to reveal the staircase down into the cellar. And there's that video where somebody left that door open, and it's when you open that door, it has to lay flat on the ground. Right? It's not like a door, like an upright door. It's a door that is, it's the floor is the door. And when you pull up the floor, you lay it down on the floor behind it, and then that exposes the staircase. And there's that video of the fat lady who's working the bar, and nobody told her that the door to the cellar was open, and you see her fall down the stairs. It's awful. It's awful because you're looking at it, it's like, okay, well, that's, everybody knows that when your body is done growing, your body's usually done growing around age 22, your brain finishes growing around age 25, but everybody knows, like, if you're in your 30s or beyond, if you hurt yourself, you're going to be in that pain. You're going to have pain in that area of your body for the rest of your life, no matter what. Right? Because your body's, your body doesn't have the ability to heal itself the way it did when you were 16. And this was like a middle-aged lady. And you see her falling down the stairs. And as you're watching this, like, oh no, that's a neck injury. Oh, that's a back injury. Oh, that's a collar. That's a clavicle injury. Like you're looking at it like, oh no, this poor lady. And yet, I'm laughing my ass off. I feel really guilty about this right now, but you can't stop watching despite the guilt. You're like, oh no! Or like, when you're watching, did you guys ever see that video where the big fat lady tries to get on the horse? She's standing on the bed of a pickup truck because she's so fat, you know what I mean? Like she's using the bed of the pickup truck to, mount the horse. She's a biggin now. Oh, wasn't she a big fat lady? Come on, name that movie. No, you better name that movie, you son of a... Well, wasn't that a big fat girl? Oh, yes, sir, she was a big girl. That big fat lady is she crawls up into the bed of a truck, right? The bed of a pickup truck, so that she can have the elevation to properly mount this horse. Now, there's a lot of people that I think watched that video, and they didn't know what was coming. I did, because I've had horses. When I was a kid, we had horses until I was in my, teens. I had horses my whole life. I love horses. And, because of that, I have an understanding that a horse, as majestic as they are, and as large as they are, I have the understanding that despite those facts, they are in fact a creature that is made out of bone and sinew. They're flesh and bone. It's not a machine. You know what I mean? Like, you can put a big fat person in a car, you can put a big fat person in an airplane, and neither the car nor the airplane, or bicycle for that matter, is going to feel any pain because it's not a being. It's not a creature. It's metal. A horse, on the other hand, is a living, breathing organism. and just like you, just like every other living creature, it has a max capacity. You know what I mean? Right? Like, I can lift my wife, right? Because she weighs 100 pounds soaking wet. I can lift my wife, no problem, right? I can carry my wife, no problem, but I can't carry her for miles. You know what I mean? I'm just, even though I'm twice her size, there's limits. And this big fat lady's trying to get on the back of this horse, and I'm just looking at this, like, before she even mounts the horse, I'm like, oh no, that horse is gonna buck. That horse is either gonna sit its ass down so that you'll slide off, or it's going to buck. But only one of those two things is about to happen. Sure enough, she gets on it. She gets her big fat ass, and I mean to tell you, if you haven't seen this video, this girl, she's 300 pounds without breaking a sweat. And she's a big girl. Big girl. And immediately, the horse bucks. And this horse puts all of its might. This horse is like, I can't afford to get this wrong. And you're so heavy that I've got one, maybe two shots at this. I'm putting all of my strength. And so, using all of its fast twitch muscle, it launches this lady. This horse launches this big fat lady into the air. And this lady goes up and comes down and hits the ground like a sack of potatoes, boy. Just no bounce, just blop. Now you're thinking to yourself, like, okay, that's at least 3 compressed vertebrae. That's probably a broken disc, at least. This is lifelong pain for that woman. She'll never be out of pain, even if she loses all the weight, and starts practicing yoga and eats clean food and drinks a gallon of water every day. Like, she's gonna be in pain for the rest of her life. And yet I cannot turn away. I have to watch this over and over and over again because it's hilarious. At the same time, it's like, it's perverse. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I feel so guilty for watching this and getting so much joy out of this because there's so much pain. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like one of those guilty pleasures. Like, I don't want anybody to see me watching this, right? This is what watching the Democrat Party is like. It's like watching a fat lady fall down the stairs. It's like, wait a minute. All right. Yes, there's a lot of people in prison that I think, as a Christian conservative, there's a lot of people in prison where it's like, get out of there. Come on. You got busted for a gigantic bag of weed. You had a big fat, freezer bag full of weed. Now you're in prison. Oh, come on. Let that guy go, right? I don't need this. I don't need my tax dollars going for that. That's a waste of money. 25% of the population of our prison population are illegal immigrants. It's like, dude, just take those people, call up their country and say, and just, call up Mexico or Guatemala or Honduras or Ecuador or whatever. You call the governments of those people and you say, listen, we have one of your citizens and he's going to be arriving at your airport today. He is a felon. He has embarrassed your nation to us. He is one of your citizens. He is a criminal and we are returning him to you. Cost you maybe $2,000, right? In a plane ticket. Not even that. It wouldn't even cost you that. Call it $1,000. $1,000, problem solved. I don't want those people in prison. I want them out of the country. They're not here legally. They have no right to my tax dollars. Get out. You know, you could say, well, that's a very conservative. I don't think so. I think that's a very liberal. I think that's a very progressive, left-wing, social justice warrior. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, no, that person doesn't belong in a U.S. prison. They belong in a Colombian prison because they're from Colombia. Get them out of here. Here's $1,000. You know, instead of $70,000, here's $1,000 and problem solved. Out you go. But that's not what Bernie said. He said, I want the Boston Bomber, who is one of the greatest living pieces of shit. Right? He's one of the greatest living pieces of shit. Now, follow me on this one. It used to be that number one in that slot was Osama bin Laden. Well, he's no longer available. How he died is still a bit of a mystery. But he's gone, right? He was an old man in 2001 with failing kidneys. So whether SEAL Team 6 got him or whether his, dialysis failed to work, doesn't matter. That dude's dead no matter what. He's gone. So he's no longer in the first slot. And then when he was alive, perhaps number two would have been like Charles Manson. Charles Manson, and once Osama bin Laden died, Charles Manson then retook his title as the number one greatest living piece of shit. Well, he's dead, so he's no longer number one. So who do we got left? We've got the Boston Bomber. We've got, I don't know, if it's removing all the conspiracy theories and whatnot and just going based on what we're told in the news, I guess the Christchurch massacre guy. As far as like criminal pieces of shit, the Boston Bomber is the most famous living piece of shit. Is he not? And Bernie Sanders is his champion. Old Boston Bomber Bernie. They can't help themselves. Do you realize what this means? It's like, okay, so there's going to be debates coming up, right? Because, politicians, they're expected to debate one another, both sides. And there's going to be CNN debates and there's going to be Fox News debates, right, where they host, and it'll be whoever against Donald Trump. Right, the incumbent, the person running for president for the Republicans, which will be Donald Trump, is going to be debating Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris and all these people. And when Donald Trump goes to the CNN ones, and they're asked, and he's asked questions. When Donald Trump is asked questions about social justice-y things, all he has to do is just keep repeating, old Boston Bomber Bernie would have you believe such and such and so and so. All he's got to do is just keep repeating that. And just keep, you know what I mean? Because for the Democrats, now keep in mind, I know it doesn't appear this way, but believe me, all right? Or don't believe, I don't really care. Most people are centrists. Most people are somewhere in the middle. Most people are path of least resistance, just like, yeah, man, well, whatever. Yeah, I think we should have money for poor people, and I think, whatever. But at the same time, it's like, or yeah, I think, people that get, if women are attacked or something and they get pregnant, yeah, I think there ought to be, like they're kind of in the middle on that one. You know what I mean? I'm talking about Democrats. Like, everybody who's registered to vote Democrat, who hates Donald Trump, most of those people are centrists. They're in the middle somewhere. And now you're pushing those people too far. So when the centrist Democrat, who is only a Democrat because his daddy was a Democrat and he belongs to a union and all that, so when that person is sitting in his living room watching the CNN debates here coming up in just a few months, and it's his guy versus Donald Trump, and it's Bernie Sanders versus Donald Trump, and he keeps hearing, "Oh, Boston Bomber Bernie." He's going to be like, there's no way I can vote for Bernie Sanders. I guess I'm just not going to vote at all, because I'm certainly not going to vote for Donald Trump. But I'm not voting for old Boston bomber Bernie either. I guess I'm out. Do you see? Well, I wanted to be a good social justice warrior and champion the cause of the poor woman who was a victim of incest and the victim of rape. And I wanted them to be able to terminate pregnancy because of the horrific circumstances there. But now the Democrats are literally lighting up New York City in celebration of 40-week abortions. Full term, fully formed baby murder. You're pushing all of the centrists out. You're probably pushing them out of voting, which is fine. That's fine. But that's the best case scenario. These Democrats, it's the best case scenario. In the most pie in the sky ideal situation for the Democrats is that their voters are going to refuse to vote for anybody. Right? When all of the primaries are over and the Democratic National Convention or committee or whatever, when they announce who they're going to run as president, the Democrats are going to be like, well, I can't vote for that person. So I guess I'm not voting at all. That's the best case scenario. The best case scenario is that the Democrats lose votes. The worst case scenario for the Democrats is that they lose votes to Donald Trump. And there will be some of that. Not very much. I doubt there will be very much of that. But you know what I mean? Half of Americans don't even vote. So there's precious little. You've already lost the black vote. You already lost the black vote. That's gone. Candace Owens and Ilhan Omar and these kind of people, they went in there and they snatched up the black vote. That's gone. It's no longer on the table. It's like watching a fat lady fall down the stairs is my point. It's hilarious. You literally just got on TV and were asked point blank, do you want the Boston bomber who murdered an 8-year-old boy, who set up an explosive device right next to an 8-year-old boy, and then watched it detonate? You want that guy to vote. And people who prey upon children sexually, you want those people to vote? And Bernie Sanders says, yes, I do. After much hemming and hawing, of course. But at the end of his answering and his pontificating, he said, yes, that's what I want. And then a champion of his cause ran up to him and said, whoa, Bernie, let's take another run at this. Kind of like when Bill Clinton screwed up the answer about his own life. And he was asked about his own life and he screwed up the answer. And then the very next business night, he was on Stephen Colbert. And Stephen Colbert, point blank, said, listen, Mr. President, you were caught off guard by that question. You really botched it up. So I tell you what, let me just ask you the question again. Like, oh yeah, nothing staged here. Can't see what's going on here. Like, that was cleanup. They were doing cleanup. Like, we can't have this man who was president of the United States. We can't have him looking like this. So we need to get him on Stephen Colbert so he can have another shot at it. That's exactly what Chris Cuomo did. Chris Cuomo had the presence of mind to run up to him in that moment. Bernie Sanders is standing on a stage and he's lit. He's covered in gasoline and he struck the match and lit himself on fire. Chris Cuomo runs up with a fire retardant blanket, wraps it around him, says, "I've got you, Bernie. I got you, buddy. All right, now listen. We're gonna get a do-over. I'm gonna give you a mulligan. Now listen. I want you to answer that question again because the way that you just answered it was death to your campaign. The only thing the Republicans have to do now is just keep replaying what you just said. And what was his answer? I don't care if the Republicans replay it over and over again. They were going to do that anyways. I might as well speak what's on my mind. Yes, I want the Boston bomber to vote for me. Whee! Because now, if it wasn't clear to people before, it's clear to you now. They don't. The reason they want to lower the voting age to 16 has nothing to do with the rights or restriction of rights to 16-year-olds. The reason they want to eliminate the Electoral College has nothing to do with their theories about whether it's an efficient voting system or not. The reason they want illegal aliens to vote, to be able to vote on federal matters, has nothing to do with the rights of the poor downtrodden migrant. If you let the Boston bomber vote, which way do you think he's going to vote? If you let a pedophile vote, which way do you think he's going to vote? Do you think he's going to vote for the late, the staunch lady, Catholic lady who's running for Congress, who thinks that pedophiles should be put to death, or do you think he's going to vote for the liberal gay man who thinks that pedophilia should be normalized and decriminalized? Which way do you think that guy's going to vote? It's nuts. And at this point, it's like watching a fat lady fall down the stairs. It's like, I can't take my eyes off it. This is hilarious. Bernie Sanders can't help himself but to shoot himself in the foot. He just keeps talking nonsense. And the left just keeps doubling down. And this is the beautiful part about it. This is the thing. Because you will hear that. You're going to continue to hear some version of Boston bomber Bernie over and over and over again. And because he doubled down when Chris Cuomo came up to him, there's only two way outs of it, and one of them he's not going to be interested in. And that is to come out and say, listen, I'm sorry. I was smoking crack before I did the thing, and I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. There's no way out for him but one way, and that is to continue to double down. Bernie Sanders will now have to, from now till 18 months from now, he's going to have to keep doubling down on that position. He is sunk. And he's the number one guy. I'm a number one guy. He's the number one guy. He's the one that's got $20 million in campaign finance. He's the front runner. The Boston bomber Bernie is the front runner, and the person in second place isn't even close. Not even close. Not even close. Now, moving on to lock her up Hillary. Right? Crooked Hillary. Crooked Hillary. Now, this lady's a priceless gem. Now, if you think that Hillary Clinton is not running for president next year, you are mistaken. I heard I can't remember if it was on Rush Limbaugh or I don't know. Maybe it was Tucker Carlson. Somebody said they posed a theory that because there's so many people running, announcing that they're running for president. You got Joe Biden, and again, that's a slam dunk. That's easy. All Trump has to do. The only thing the Trump campaign has to do is just to keep publishing pictures of Joe Biden sniffing women over and over and over again. That's all he's got to do. He doesn't even need to make a sound. He just needs to keep, just run commercial ads where it's just pictures of Joe Biden creeping on women. That's all he's got to do. So he's done. You got Mayor Pete, who's into butt stuff with other dudes. You've got Spartacus. You've got flat on her back Kamala. Oh, and Kamala Harris in that same CNN town hall. She was asked the same thing, and if you haven't seen the clips or if you didn't watch the thing, I recommend that you do, because if you want to see what an exhausted person looks like, Kamala Harris is asked the same thing, and she is so tired that she's what is that when you get too drunk and you can't talk, like mumbling, muttering, where you're slurring. I'm sorry, slurring your words. That's what Kamala Harris is doing. You can tell, like, Chris Cuomo asked her the same question. Now, wait a minute here, Kamala. Bernie, I tried to give Bernie the bait, and he wouldn't take it. I tried to cram it in his mouth, and he spit it out. So I'm going to ask you, do you want the Boston bomber to vote? And you can look at her face. It's that moment of giving up, like when you're arguing with your loved one, your wife or your husband or whatever, or like you're trying to explain to your kid, why we don't stick forks in the electric socket, or whatever. Why we have to look both ways before we cross the street. Like something where it's like you have to explain it over and over and over and over and over again, and you just, at a certain point, you hit a wall where you just realize, like, I got nothing left. You just hit that wall of exhaustion where I can't talk anymore. And you can feel it happening as you're talking. Like, you can feel like your jaw muscles get weak. Your head slumps, your shoulders fall forward a little bit, and you're just like, oh. That's what happens to Kamala Harris. It's beautiful. You go watch it and then write me and tell me I'm wrong. You can see she's sitting there talking, and she's like, well, it's like, oh, you've hit the wall, lady. That's called hitting the wall. I'm familiar with that sensation. I've been there. We've all been there. And you're there right now. I know that landscape. I've been there. She just hits the wall. She's like, yeah, I guess we should let the Boston bomber vote. Okay, you're done. Next. Lady, you are where you are because you let a gross old man put his thingy inside of you. You got to where you are the old-fashioned way. Old-fashioned Kamala, they called her. Old-fashioned Kamala. And she's up there, and she's exhausted, so she's out. If she's exhausted at this point, it's like you have any idea what running for president would take out of you. Like, it's surprising because usually people who are president are old people, and that's like an old man getting in a UFC ring. It's like, man, you don't have the energy for that. It's amazing. It's just, if she's getting gassed now, it's like you're going to be falling down like Hillary Clinton. You're going to be passing out in front of people. You're going to be collapsing. Nobody's going to vote for you. Who else do you got? Oh, what's his name from old date rapey guy from California? What's his name? Mr. Date Rape Face. Mr. Punch him in the face. I can't remember his name right now. He's running for president. So basically, somebody was making the observation, like right now, it's basically a circular firing squad. It's a big Mexican standoff. It's the hybrid. It's the love child of a Mexican standoff and a circular firing squad. It's like, so you've got these 20 people or whatever, and they're just going to keep shooting each other. None of these people are going after Trump, by the way. They're all going after each other. When you say you want the Boston bomber to vote, you're not opposing Trump. You're trying to appeal to your base because you believe that your base is desirous that the Boston bomber be allowed to vote. That's what you think of the American. That's what you think of Democrats. Let me tell you something. There's a lot of liberal cities in America. There's a lot of cities in America that vote exclusively Democrat. None of them are like Boston. Boston is a solidly Democrat city. Why? Because the Kennedys come from Massachusetts, because the Kennedys were Catholic, because there was so much controversy over JFK becoming president. Boston, and because like the unions used to actually be fair, I guess. I don't know. You know, I mean, they were crooks, but they took care of their own. You know, they were crooks. They would steal from people, but they didn't. You know, when a union member got hurt, like the unions would take care of them, and the unions always said, "Vote Democrat." Now, for Boston, it's a whole different thing. It's a religion to them. It's like, these are our people. The Kennedys were our people. They were like us. They're Irish. They were into whiskey. And they became president. And they're Catholic. They're us. They're one of us. Boston is a squarely, you can forget it. They're voting Democrat, and that's the end of that story. The Boston people are tough, old Democrats. They're old school. It's part of their culture. And you're going to run, right, as a Democrat. And you're going to tell the people of Boston, I want the Boston bomber to be able to vote. You are going to have an unprecedented amount of Bostonians either not voting at all or voting for Donald Trump. Congratulations, Democrat. At this point, I love watching it. We just weeks ago, we were all scratching our heads going, I wonder how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won. This is really bizarre. I mean, this lady, she knows whatever the opposite of something is. That's what she knows. She knows the opposite of something. She knows nothing. It's amazing how many words she uses when describing nothing. And we were all scratching our head going, I wonder how this happened. Is this like some sort of anomaly? Is this truly the state of our union that people would vote for her? This is weird. And then it came out that the Justice Democrats, they had a casting call. 10,000 people. They literally did a casting call. Now, I know that, some of you folks, that means a little something different than what that means to me, casting call, right? So I'm from a place where there's a lot of filming of movies and TV shows. You guys remember Simon and Simon back in the 80s? That was filmed in San Diego. Do you guys remember Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone? A lot of that was filmed in San Diego. There's a lot of movies in San Diego and in the surrounding areas. Everywhere from like San Luis Obispo south, there's a lot of filming that goes on. And a casting call, like every once in a while, like you'll be reading the newspaper or whatever, look how old I am, or watching TV or whatever, and they'll say, hey, there's a casting call for extras. If you want to, if you want to be in a movie and, have free snacks, right? There's going to be sandwiches, there's going to be Cokes. Like, you show up, there's no money in it for you. We need extras. So we're not going to pay you. You're not going to get any billing. Your name's not going to be on anything. But for the rest of your life, you'll be able to, if we pick you, you'll be able to, when you're watching your movies with Tom Cruise, you'll be able to look in the background and show all your friends like, oh, that's me. That's me. That's me and Tom Cruise in the same shot. Like, so people show up. That's what a casting call is. And the call, it goes out. The people who are producing it, they send out a call and they say, listen, everybody within the sound of my voice, if you can hear me, we need extras. Come. It's a casting call. And 10,000 people showed up. That's a lot of people showing up for a casting call. That means they were looking for extras. There's not 10,000 actors in the Bronx or wherever she's from. There's just 10,000 people. And out of those 10,000 people, they picked her. I'm assuming because she exhibited high memorization skills. They would have picked her for a reason. her ability to recite, her ability to, her ability to retain and then recite, that requires a certain, I don't know, skill, I suppose. And so they picked her, and then they ran her. And they paid a great deal of money to do it. And they made little 30-second movies to put on TV, right? They produced her. The Justice Democrats did a movie production, casting call and all, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez won the lead role as freshman congresswoman. That is a fact. That is not a conspiracy theory. That is something that the Justice Democrats have eagerly admitted and bragged about, and it's something that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez bragged about and readily admitted. That's how it happened. We didn't know that just a few weeks ago. That news came out just a few weeks ago. And they confronted her and they confronted the Justice Democrats. They're like, yeah, we told you. We were all scratching our heads like, how did this woman get to where she got? And then it was made clear to us, oh, she's an actor in a production. And now we know. We have Ilhan Omar, who just again, these people are the gift that keeps on giving. You got Rashida Tlaib up there saying they were afraid the Muslims were coming, and now the Muslims are here, and we're in their Congress. Not I'm in the Congress of the land that I love. She's saying we're the Muslims and we are in our enemies' Congress. Those people, the others, we're in their Congress. Now we have Ilhan Omar, and they unearthed a tweet from years ago where she said something about Somalia to a veteran, saying like, "Oh, you people butchered all these Somalians," and then she put a hashtag, "Not today, Satan." Now, why did she say that? Because America is referred to by the Muslim world as the Great Satan. That's why they chant death to America. They're not saying death to America. They're saying death to Satan. And we're Satan, according to them. And she called this American serviceman who was actually there in Mogadishu for that battle Satan. She views America as being the great Satan, all right? Now, where I come from, Satan is the enemy. And we all look forward to the death of Satan, right? There's only one place for Satan, and that's the burning lake of fire. And she believes that we are the great Satan. She wants America in the lake of fire. These are people that are in our Congress. Even, when you see Nancy Pelosi, who is chief douchebag of the Democrats, even she is against the three harpies, the three witches. If you remember watching Clash of the Titans, even she's against those people. These people don't stand a chance. And it's awesome to watch. At this point, it's hilarious to watch. It's like, oh wow, you people can't help yourself. So anyways, Hillary Clinton was on in this interview, again, I think it was yesterday, perhaps the day before, but she's up there and she's in a very weird position right now. She has to double down. I'm surprised she's still available in the country. If I were her, I mean, literally, again, if I were Hillary and Bill Clinton, with the gigantic bag of money that they have, I would be holed up in a non-extradition country. Like if there's little islands that you can buy, all over the world. There's even ways that you can establish your own nation, by the way. You can buy an island and Honduras has this thing where, like, if you buy one of the islands off of there, you can establish your own nation. and the nation of Honduras will ratify it. You know, it's kind of a weird thing. That's what I would do if I were them, because they're going down, and they have to know it at this point. Hillary Clinton was on television saying, "Yeah, well, Donald Trump, did things that if he was a regular citizen, he'd be in prison." It's like, oh, so you're against rules for me and not for thee concept? Do you realize what would happen to me if the Federal Department of Justice or the Office of the Attorney General, however it worked, gave me a subpoena and said, you have to give me all your emails? If they subpoenaed, if it came from a judge said, you have to turn over this property. I command you in the name of the law, you must turn over this property. And then, not beforehand, but after the subpoena was issued to the Clintons, they took the thing that was subpoenaed and smashed it with a hammer and poured devastating chemicals all over it. If I had done that, I would be in prison right now. Forever. She did that. And we know that that happened. We know that that happened. And thanks to a beautiful twist in justice, the saving grace there is that she was never charged for that. You want to know why that's a saving grace? Because the fact that she was never charged means she can still be charged. If she had been charged during the Obama administration and then was found not guilty because the Obamas ran, those people, they ran everything. They could have charged her back then and then forced a not guilty verdict. Then there would be no touching her because of double jeopardy laws. You can't charge somebody twice for the same crime. But because she was never charged, leaves the open door that she can be charged. That's not even getting into the Clinton Foundation stuff. And what if, because listen, my understanding is that you can destroy electronic stuff all you want. You never really you never really destroy it. Those emails are probably somewhere floating around in the ether. And what if we get those emails? Right, just that. What if Julian Assange has all 30,000 of those emails? What if he has them? What if? Now these are big what ifs. But just what if Julian Assange had the presence of mind to know that because there's a whole just ocean of dead bodies in the wake of the Clintons. What if Julian Assange said, you know what? I'm going to keep these 30,000 emails just in case. Just in case. And what if there's a single email in there with the subject line that says RE, as in regarding Seth Rich? What if there's just one? Just one. Just one. She's up there, right? Again, Donald Trump is not in a position where he's thinking about, I'm gonna be, all vindictive and whatever. No, he's thinking, I'm gonna do what's right. These people committed crimes, and they're getting away with it because of what their last name is and who they know. And if this continues in American politics, it's going to destroy this nation. You cannot have laws for one class of people and a different set of laws for the other. Furthermore, these people tried to unseat a sitting U.S. president. They threatened the lives of General Flynn. They threatened the life of General Flynn, but they threatened the life of General Flynn's son, who had just had a baby of his own. And they told Flynn, you better give us what we want. You better say the words that we want to hear, or we're taking your son down. And he will be separated from his little baby. Justice is coming. And if I were the Clintons, with their unexhaustible wealth, it's like, lady, you need to go buy an island off of Honduras and establish your own nation and make that nation a non-extradition nation. You know, you need to get somewhere safe, because you're going down. And nobody's going to support you anymore. The people that used to vote for you, they're going to see who you really are. And you're not going. The only people that are going to support you is CNN and the Young Turks. That's less than 1 million people. There's 300 million people. You're only going to have 1 million of them. You're not. It's not enough. You're not going to make it. You're going to jail. And Bernie, you're not going to win. Boston Bomber Bernie. That's the show for today. Support the show, would you? Give me some money. Money, 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 money. Arch Advocate. PayPal.me/ArchAdvocate. Or subscribestar.com/arch with a hyphen advocate. Arch Advocate. And I'm going to read to you your daily devotional before I go. And here it is for April 24th. Rest in the stillness of my presence while I prepare you for this day. Let the radiance of my glory shine upon you as you wait on me in confident trust. Be still and know that I am God. There is both a passive and an active side to trusting me. As you rest in my presence, focusing on me, I quietly build bonds of trust between us. And when you respond to the circumstances of your life with affirmations of trust, you actively participate in the process. I am always with you, so you have no reason to be afraid. Your fear often manifests itself in excessive planning. Your mind is so accustomed to this pattern of thinking that you are only now becoming aware of how pervasive it is and how much it hinders your intimacy with me. Repent of this tendency and resist it whenever you realize you are wandering down this well-worn path. Return to my presence, which always awaits you in the present moment. I accept you and back you with no condemnation. Amen. Again, that is the show for today, Wednesday, April 24th, and I will talk to you on the morrow.